Hello and welcome to the channel. I hope you're all well. I also hope that you've had the opportunity to view the video on short-line Polish nymphing that I released a few days ago. I want to continue with the theme and talk about Polish nymphs. Polish nymphs are famed for woven nymphs, and these are very attractive and very effective. But a well-known Polish angler once said, "They're for the tourists." Now let me put that into perspective. He was actually fishing and he was asked about the nymphs that he was using, and the person was surprised that it wasn't a woven nymph. What I'm going to tie today is what he was using, and his theory was that if you lose 3 or 4 nymphs every time you go fishing, woven nymphs can be very time consuming and can be expensive. He was looking to use something that was easier to tie up when he was running out of flies. He was using a fly which was just simply tied out of wool. But he had a theory that in the size of the hook, whatever thickness of lead wire you used, you must always use that thickness, so that on a size 10, for example, he might have 15 turns. On a size 12, he might have 12 turns. On a size 14, he might have 8 turns. And his theory was that he didn't have to worry about which fly was which, because he knew by the size of the hook exactly how much weight had been put on the fly. So here we go. Let's tie one of these flies that the particular angler was using. I'm using 6/0 black thread. There are very few materials, so I'll just put on a bit of thread down the shank, like so. Right, now I'm going to use a fairly thick wire. And let's see how many turns are on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think that will do. I'll just plug that off and I'll bind that down. As I said, these particular styles of nymphs are very easy to tie, not too time consuming and not too costly either. Let's just break that off. Do the same with this piece and bind it down. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on top of there to try and hold that in place so that it doesn't slip, like so. Now it really doesn't matter what colour thread you use. I just happen to be using this black and round the bend. Now the rib that he was using was just plain monofilament, and this happens to be a Stren 3 pounds. I'll just cut a length off and tie it in. Like so, and trim off the excess. Bind that down. Back round the bend like so. Now in this particular instance, I'm going to use some brown wool. Now you can use whatever colour you like. I'll show you some other examples in a moment, but you don't want it too thick. Otherwise it does make the fly a little bit out of proportion. So I'm going to tie that in up to the lead, like so, and back down again, and that helps build up the body to the same thickness as the lead. Right, now I'm just going to wind this on. These flies are so simple, but they are effective. I'll just tie that off and trim up the wall. Now I'm going to put a yellow head on here, but depending on what colours you're using, really you can put on whatever colour you want. If it's for grayling, for example, as opposed to trout, you may want to put on a pink head. But it's just a couple of turns of wool, like so, and tie it off. And trim up the wool. In case you were wondering if I'd forgotten the rib, I hadn't, and on the original it was indeed tied over the head as well. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a half hitch in that so that it doesn't roll off. And just wind up the rib. Trim that up in a minute. I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the thread before I tie it off. And trim up the rib. And trim up the thread, and that is the fly finished. It's really as simple as that. You can obviously tie it in different colours. I've tied some here in olive, and there's a brown one there with a pink head as well. And these are just standard nymphs done with dubbing that would also serve for the purpose. When I was on the river, I was speaking about a well-known Polish angler, Vlad, and he was famous for his Vlad's worm. And this is what the original looks like. This is nearly 20 years old, and it was tied indeed with a condom. But you can see that it's a terrific looking fly. I hope you enjoyed the video, and these flies are dead easy to tie, and it doesn't cost a lot in terms of materials when you lose 3 or 4 in a session. If you're not already a subscriber, consider hitting the bell. It's totally free, and give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for viewing. Bye.